Yeah, we'll see. Staying in the NHL side of things for a bit longer, we'll be talking about a comment that Kyle Dubas made. Dubas, Dubas. He made a comment about what the Pens' plans are heading into the next couple seasons of their franchise player's career in Sidney Crosby, just in the fact that, I mean, that has been the question the last couple of years, I think. Looking at this Penguins team, what direction are they heading in? The one thing that I think most people have thought, including myself, is the fact that they very clearly aren't trying to tank, just in the fact that they have kept most of their franchise players. Malkin's still there, Letang's still there, Crosby's still there, obviously. They've kept all of those big names, and so far, it's been fairly clear that they've been trying to contend. Have they been doing it well? Not at all. They have not won a playoff series since their cup run in 2018, and it shows. They have not had basically any showings. I think they've popped in the playoffs maybe once or twice off memory, but they haven't really done anything in those few runs that they've tried to made exactly there in the fact that they haven't won a series. And I think that exactly is why it was a little shocking to people. I mean, he's kind of saying the obvious, but Dubas came out and said that the Penguins intend to contend. That's a very good headline. Intend to contend in Crosby's final years. And, I mean, Caleb, I think I know what your opinion on this is. I think we've kind of talked about it before with the Erik Karlsson, when the whole Erik Karlsson thing happened a while back. I have kind of shifted my opinion since we've had that conversation as well. So I'll just throw it over to you to do your Penguins, yell at the Penguins.
This is why people should listen to me sometimes, because I mean, I saw this coming.
Yeah.
I can't exactly proclaim myself a savant for this one though, because it's not like it was unpredictable.
Yeah,
it was a terrible decision in the first place.
It was either going to work out really well or not at all, and I think even I remember saying that, because it's the type of move where, frankly, there was no middle ground. Either you were going to the cup or you were doing nothing with the new defenseman you just have for $11 million.
But they're not going to go to the cup. Because they don't have a cup-winning team anymore.
But that's the thing. They don't understand that, Caleb. They aren't trading they're trading for Erik Karlsson because they think they're going to the cup.
Yes. You know what it is? It's not intending to contend. It's pretending to contend.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. There we go. Ooh, pulling out our own headlines.
I know how to whip a headline.
Oh, yeah.
But, no. It's because, I mean, I think I've made the comparison to this whenever we've talked about this before. But it's the same thing with the Red Wings that happened when they had, their 25-year streak of going to the playoffs. And they kept that dying team alive for way longer than they should have, because they wanted to keep that streak alive. And they kept that streak alive, but there's a reason they now have a huge playoff drought. Because things like that have consequences. If you don't get value for your pieces, there's consequences. And when you try to keep alive an aging roster, the Penguins are old. And obviously getting Erik Karlsson, who isn't a spring chicken himself, that has consequences. I don't know. It's just not smart. I do think Dubas is a great general manager, and I mean, it's not. Did he make was he there when the Karlsson signing happened?
He was the one who made that trade, because the thing that made that so interesting as well was the fact that I believe he was trying to make that move when he was in Toronto as well, which
basically made more sense for Toronto. That would have made sense for Toronto.
With their cap. I don't know about that, but it still would have been. Fair. It still would have been a little, and especially who they have to sign in the next couple of years. I would argue that it would have made less sense for Toronto, but
money-wise, team fit-wise, it would make sense.
Sure, if money doesn't exist, then sure. But
obviously, it's a fair point. The cap, you have to do some cap magic,
which is why I think it didn't happen as well. I think it's something to point out, because I think. If in a world where cap doesn't exist, which I already think is the world Dubas lives in with the contracts he signed half those Leafs players to, but it's That's what I mean by the fact that I like the point you made. It's pretending to contend. That's exactly what it is. Because you have to really think. They thought that they were going to have a cup run there with Crosby, Carlson, Malkin, Letang, all that. They thought they had a cup run.
And they're not even close.
They're not. Which is kind of... They
are currently second last in their division.
Yeah.
59 points. Like, they're not anywhere close.
And, I mean, even just looking at, like... you gotta wonder, like, he's coming out and saying this comment. I don't want to, like... If I'm Crosby, do I really want to stay? I'm just going to come out right and say it. Like, do I really want to stay at this point? I don't think I would. Like, because think about it like this.
I assume that's why he's saying this, right?
Yeah.
Because Crosby... Because, I mean, this whole conversation is coming off of the end of the Gensel trade, right? And Crosby, like, who's normally not an outspoken guy, right? Like, he's classic Canadian hockey player. He's not going to speak his mind. But he came out and said, like, I don't know what the hell we're doing, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he was...
That's a question for the management.
Obviously. Yeah, that's what... Yes. That's exactly what he said. And it's like... So you can see he's upset. And so the reason Dubas is saying something like this is to
keep your star
try
happy.
to keep Crosby.
Yeah.
And it's like... But it's not going to happen. Because how many years does Crosby have left? This Penguins rebuild is going to take, like, probably 5 years to get back to the level that they have been, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think that they're going to be doing much. Well, it's kind of
Crosby's
like...
36.
And it's crazy. It's crazy to think about it. But you know what's the comparison I'd make to what the Penguins are currently sitting in? It's kind of like what we saw the late 2000s Flames look like with Iginla. Where... Oh, guys, we got Yossi Jokinen. We're going to the cup. Like, it was that type of thing, right?
Jokinen, yeah, I remember.
Or, no, wrong Jokinen, whatever. Like, it's just like, like, it's that type of thing. And sure.
I was an Ole Jokinen stan as a kid.
Oh, yeah?
He was my favorite player for a little bit.
Oh, really?
I wanted
that's
to
an
be
odd...
different.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
I wanted to be different.
Oh,
I was
that's
like
fair.
7. Don't.
To be fair, I had that phase later on when one of my favorite players was Sam Bennett. I was a Sam Bennett defender.
That's fair. I still have a Sam Bennett autographed hat. Like he's
Same.
still one of my faves.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, I got to meet Sam Bennett when in like his rookie year. I remember. Yeah, but
yeah, I didn't meet him. I just got it. My dad won a prize pool. And as an Oilers fan, did not want it.
Didn't even get to meet him. Wow, not even a real Flames fan.
I know, second class. But talk about the Flames. I do think it's a good comparison to make in terms of like literally the Flames of now.
Yes.
Why are the Flames?
Not true.
because we're living like we're together too long.
I'd argue the Flames have less reason to do what they're doing now.
Well, no, but I think what Craig Conroy is doing is the absolute opposite of what Dubas is doing, or at least Dubas is saying he's doing.
Yeah.
Where like Conroy is trying to get value for people and
yeah,
it's upsetting some people, right? Like you don't want to
trade. I would argue that a lot of the issues with how the Flames are doing it this season probably is more related to coaching than Craig Conroy in the general manager room, because it's more related to stuff with veterans getting more opportunities than, for example, the whole Dustin Wolf thing. Like, I think that's more a coaching choice, just in the fact that no coach in the NHL is ever going to actively put someone on the ice who will give them a less chance to win than a veteran in almost any situation.
Yeah.
Even if they're tanking or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more so in terms of like, yeah, I do think that's part of it, but I do think the Flames are doing it right now.
Yes.
Like what they're doing this season because they're selling off pieces, and Dubas made, I think, the right move in selling off Gensel. Like, I think that was the right move.
It's almost like they're taking a step back. Like he got a bit gun shy.
He's backtracking on it. But I think I agree with what you say, where I don't think that's anything more than just trying to appease your star.
Right? Yeah, I don't think it's true. I think that unless we see some like real moves that actually kind of confirm it, I see no reason to believe a single word of it. I still think that the Pens are moving towards having a way worse team next year. I don't know what would make them better.
They're going to have a worse team every year after this.
Yeah, which is exactly why
Crosby's going to start to decline. Malkin's going to start to decline.
Exactly why I just don't see why Crosby sticks around. Like, what is in Pittsburgh for him at this point? Like, especially looking at it like this, the only reason Malkin and Letang are still on these rosters are because of Crosby. Like, as good as they are. That makes it sound like they're not deserving of it. I'm just saying that the only reason they've stuck around is that for on the same team for that long is because of that, right? You gotta wonder if I think if I'm Dubas, and this is assuming he's not dumb and doesn't actually think he can contend. My next move is probably to offload either, I would say probably Letang. Letang is probably the guy I try and move next. I think he's the most movable. Just because his contract still isn't small, but it is definitely smaller than Malkin's. And I think it's also shorter, if I remember right. So I think in both of those senses, I think he is the easier player to move. So, but even looking at it like that, you are going to piss Crosby off if you move Letang. Like, at a certain point where it's just like, all my friends are gone, why the hell am I supposed to stay? Right? Like, I mean...
Letang is signed until he's 41.
Is he?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
He's in the second year. He's in the second year of his 6-year deal.
On?
That's a great question. Give me a second to find that. I think...
yeah, because
I think the one
just
thing
way
in
off?
terms of like... let me see. So
I know Malkin makes... I know he makes more.
Letang's deal gets significantly cheaper the longer you go into it.
Okay, so that's less of a big deal, I guess. Still a big deal. 41 is old. But...
Malkin is signed until he's 40, and is more expensive marginally. He's not more expensive now. Letang is more expensive now.
So Malkin's around until 2026 on whatever deal. So it's another 2 years, 3 years, 2 years.
2 more years with the Pens, and then in the third year it'll be a UFA.
Yeah, that's right. Like
Letang actually has a higher cap hit for the next couple of years. That's interesting.
I was just off on all regards. Okay, like,
yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
I think in terms of to go to your point in terms of why would Crosby want to stay there, I almost wonder if it's just the kind of thing
it's a legacy thing
for so long where he just wants to that
retire
would be my
pen.
guess.
I think that's the only reason they're doing this.
It would be very strange to me to see him in another uniform.
It's the only reason Ovechkin's not on a different team, for example. It's a legacy thing. Washington would look bad trading. I mean, even think about what the Flames looked like after that Iginla trade. Like, they did not come out looking better or more positive or whatever. And I just realized that I've had it on that this whole time, which means that everybody's just been staring at that screen, which is fun. Going to be just terrific for editing. I hope that hasn't been on for too long. I'm sorry about that. But whatever.
Yeah. I think one last thing that is interesting, just pulling up all the contract numbers. This is kind of not related, but so Crosby, right, like signed his big 12-year deal, right?
Yeah.
Like $8.7 million per year, 87, huh? Look at him go. But he doesn't have much time left on that deal.
Nope.
There's run out because he signed it when he was 26, and he's a UFA when he's 38. It's insane that he's under contract for that long.
Send the kid out.
One more. Yeah, exactly. He's got this season, then one more, and then he's a UFA. What do they do that? That's interesting to me.
Yeah. Does Sid the Kid come back to Pittsburgh? Probably not.
Oh, boy.
I guess it depends on how good he is at that point. Which the answer to that question is he's good. So he's gonna be good till he's like 40. I think Crosby's still and he'll get worse, but I still think he'd be at least like a 60. He'd be better than 90% of the league still.
Yeah, I mean he still is.
No, I mean in 2 years. I still think that he'd be better.
Yeah.
It's unless he retires ahead of the game, which I mean, is fairly common with a player like that. But
yeah, and I don't even know, like, he's around the age where he could be retiring, right? Like, I know
maybe a year or two.
Yeah, well, because he's reaching 40, right?
I could see him retiring after his contract runs out. Maybe.
Yeah, I could.
If he outright, I could see him just deciding that nothing else is going to happen in Pittsburgh, and he doesn't want to play somewhere else. I could see that being a real possibility.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want to uproot everything he's built in Pittsburgh just because he wants another cup when he has 3. Whatever.
Yeah, I would have a hard time seeing him do that. I would be pretty surprised.
Yeah, no, it definitely would be fairly shocking. It's gonna be kind of whack to see what Pittsburgh ends up doing in the next couple of years, because I think they're just gonna continue heading down the wrong path,
screwed.
And they're eventually gonna look like what all of, like, list any bad team ever. They're the next Coyotes. Like, it's just, they're gonna be bad for a long time whenever the back end of this ends up coming around.
Yeah. Savor your pseudo playoff push now. Pseudo playoff push. Because you're not getting in. Savor your pseudo playoff push now, Pens fans, because you're not going to get this close again for a long time, I think.
But Caleb, they got Michael Bunting.
Oh boy.
You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand how insane their playoff push is about to be.
Raise the fucking ban.